In 1971, Adventist World Radio began. Now, we've had the Voice of Prophecy for many years. We have It Is Written, Faith for Today, Hope Channel, these different things, 3ABN. But Adventist World Radio is the special ministry from the General Conference that goes around the world. Over 1,100 radio stations that are preaching the gospel in over 100 languages. Now, you've not heard of it. You've not heard any of the programs here in America so much, but they're actually trying to get a station. They have an opportunity right now to have a station, a choir station, so Adventist World Radio can be heard here in America. But mainly it's other countries of the world preaching the gospel in many, many different places. And today I want to share a story that took place in the Messiah. We're going to have a picture on the screen here about a man named Abraham. Anyone ever heard of Abraham? Abraham was a man there in this country in Africa. And Abraham listened to Adventist World Radio. Now, one of the other blessings of the Adventist World Radio is that not only teaches about our message, but it also encourages our people and gives encouragement to our people. And this man was listening to Adventist World Radio after he became a Seventh-day Adventist, and he needed some instruction in different things, and he learned about paying tithe. How many of you have ever heard of that before? Paying tithe? Well, he heard about that, and he says, I'm going to do that. Now, his wealth was in his cows, Bobby. He had lots of cows. In fact, he had over 1,000 head of cows. And so he says, well, you got to pay tithe on it. He had cows, he had sheep, he had goats. And so he says, well, okay, I'll pay tithe on my cows and goats and sheep. And so we have 1,000 head of cattle. Every 10 goes by, you pay 1. Every 100, 10. 1,000, how many? 100. His neighbors thought he was crazy paying all that out for those tithe. I mean, who ever heard of that? Paying your cows, and so he did that with his sheep, did that with his goats. That was his wealth. In fact, over in that country over there, the cows were probably more valuable than your wives. But anyway, but he's learning. So, and like I said, his neighbors thought he was crazy. But his cows started having calves. Now, Bobby, if you were at the sale bar and you saw some of his cows come through, you probably wouldn't buy any of them because they're poor as church mice already looking. But his cows started having twins. Now, Bobby, have you ever had cows had twins? How many? Not too many though, right? You've had a few, probably. 150. You've had that many twins? No. Out of his 1,000 cows, 40 had twins. Now, imagine that. If someone here in America has 1,000 head of cattle, you'd be lucky to have one set of twins. 40 of his cows had twins. Sheep have twins, but his were having triplets. Goats have twins, but they were having triplets. What do his neighbors think now? Wow, we ought to be doing this. God was blessing. Now he doesn't pay for every 10 he pays a cow. For every 8 he pays a cow for his tithe. He started building some ponds. His neighbors were building ponds to water the cattle, and they were paying for people to come and water the cattle, but he would let them come in for free. This God was blessing. Does God bless when we are faithful to him? Adventist World Radio is ministering to people around the world. Every March, there's a special offering for Adventist World Radio, and we want you to encourage you to support that. Every March, there's a special offering. Last year, in June, I went to Zambia. Any of you ever heard of the country of Zambia? It's right above the South Africa. Went to Zambia, and there are 1,200 evangelistic meetings going on at the same time. Most of them were in the capital city, but I was in Livingston, where they have the big waterfalls. I was there, and we had meetings there, and we had about 10 meetings in that area. But as a result of those meetings, there were 17,000 baptisms. Many of these were the result of them listening to Adventist World Radio. Now, we have a tower in Guam. Any of you ever heard of that tower in Guam? When I was in college in Keene, they were raising funds. I went to camp meeting there in Keene, and they were raising funds for the Guam Tower. So they built this tower, and we're going to put something up there on the Guam Tower right now. Just kind of, how many of you know Alvin Ho from Jefferson? Alvin Ho is a photographer. He's the one who took these pictures. You know, Alvin Ho travels all over the place, but in Guam, they have these radio towers. And these radio towers reach 3 billion people. All of India is over 1 billion people. All of China, which is over 1 billion people. And everything in between, Japan, Korea, and all the islands out there, 3 billion people. Can you imagine how many people are listening, how many people are downloading or clicking on, checking in to the Adventist World Radio Station? Guess how many hits we get a day, every single day? Anyone want to take a guess? 500,000. Not even close. 5 million hits a day. People are downloading material, listening. There's a prison in Zambia, and this prison had 2,000 prisoners. 2,000. And we have a little radio that they give out. It's solar powered and also a crank up powered radio. Many places where the people are listening to Adventist World Radio, they don't have electricity. And so they have these little solar powered radios. So in this prison, they can fix those radios where they only listen to one station. And so they gave these prisoners the Adventist World Radio. Out of 2,000 prisoners, 800 became Seventh-day Adventist for listening that little radio. Isn't that amazing? Yeah. And so, is Art already done? Oh yeah, go ahead. So you just get a little picture, like you say, Alvin Ho and his, all those things that fly over, the drones. He took this. Can you imagine over there on the island of Guam? Here you have these big towers. That guy right there was with us in Zambia. He climbs those things every day to check on things. He actually had meetings over there too with us. This man is climbing up there. Max is his name. So these towers, like I say, are reaching 3 billion people, those who tune in. And so, how many like to climb that every day? That'd be whoa. The wonderful thing about Adventist World Radio is that it's reaching people in their own dialects, in their own language. And we think, well, maybe it's Doug Bashford preaching or some other person. No, it's not these people at all. It's people, their own language, their own dialect, and that's what's making it so powerful, is that people preaching in their own language and people are listening. On the island, the Philippines, I don't know, now, Adventist World Radio, in this last March, they sent you a CD here telling about the Philippines. Did y'all play that? Did y'all play that? It was a CD. It was for the offering. Shame on you. In fact, everywhere I go, I ask them, did y'all play that thing? It was about the offering. And no one's ever played it. I should have brought it today to play it for you. But what happened in the Philippines is that these rebels, people who rebelled against the government up in the mountains with their machine guns, they began listening to Adventist World Radio. To date, they have baptized 6 of those generals. They've given up their machine guns. They've given up their rebellion against the church or the government, and now they're Adventists. But these rebel generals, because of Adventist work, they listened to the radio. They heard what was going on, the medical work and all different kind of things, and they were blessed. And now they became Seventh-day Adventist. So we have over 1,000 languages out there that they'd like to reach. We're in over 100 languages now, preaching the Adventist message. And God is blessing in so many ways. I want to show you just one other thing as I talk about Adventist World Radio today. And this is this other clip. And he's going to start it, but I'm going to talk while they're going through it just a little bit here. It's called cell phone evangelism. Anyone ever heard of that? Cell phone evangelism? Well, on your phone, there's an app. It's called what? WhatsApp. Okay, you can get it. It's free. And you can get on that. And so when I was in Zambia, the man who started cell phone evangelism was there, and he was showing us how you do cell phone evangelism. He had just come back from Georgia, one of the republics of Russia. He's coming back from there, and he had just had an evangelistic meeting, and he said, why can't we put evangelistic meeting on a cell phone? And so they put it in segments, about 8 to 10 minute segments. And so him and his partner got together, and they first started doing this with a Sabbath school lesson because they're in Africa, their southern part of Africa, and they were doing their Sabbath school and prayer meeting on the cell phone, the WhatsApp. And so he says, well, why can't we do an evangelistic meeting? So they put it in segments, a whole series, evangelistic meeting, in about 8 minute segments, talking to the people on the cell phone. And for example, if you download WhatsApp on your cell phone, you'll probably have connections already, hundreds of them maybe. And so he had 10,000 people in his first evangelistic meeting. Can you imagine that? 10,000 people listening to their cell phone on WhatsApp, listening to evangelistic meeting. After the evangelistic meeting, people wanted to join the Adventist church. Guess how many from that one evangelistic meeting, 10,000 listening, requested baptism? 8,000. From cell phones. Right now, cell phone evangelism, there's 150,000 Bible studies going on right now around the world. You can do it too. Let me tell you how you do it. First of all, you get your cell phone and you go to the apps. You put in AWR 360. And when you turn there, AWR 360, you're going to find information on how to do cell phone evangelism yourself. And it may be that you'll use the meetings that are already going on in Spanish or English, whatever language you want to choose, and you can do cell phone evangelism. And so, you download that app, and it tells you how to do it. AWR 360, and you can do it. Did you have it? Did it come up? Okay, is it ready? Let's just do a little bit of that. And
find out how a blind woman and the most introverted member of the church are both using their cell phones to share the gospel with others. This is AWR 360. AWR is here in Pretoria, the capital city of South Africa. Located at the southern tip of Africa, this multi-ethnic society boasts its variety of cultures, languages, and religions. This is evident by the Constitution's recognition of 11 official languages, the highest of any country in the world. It is here that cell phone evangelism is spreading like wildfire. Yay! Cell phone evangelism was founded by a small team in Namibia who were seeking to share Jesus with everyone. The Holy Spirit inspired them to use their cell phones as a way to send a prophecy series to their contacts. Rapidly, the people began responding and surprisingly forwarded these Bible lessons to their own friends and family. Many of these cell phone evangelists have quite a story to tell. Our AWR team has arrived in the quaint city of Stiffontein to meet Anna Marie, a wonderful lady who is using her cell phone for evangelism. As we arrived, she greeted us with a sweet smile. She immediately drew me in as she began to share her life story.
Okay, 16 years ago, I went into kidney failure and I lost my kidneys.
For Anna Marie to survive, her sister decided to donate one of her kidneys. For the next year and a half, she was on dialysis, but the worst was yet to come.
I started getting blind also, and I was really scared to getting blind.
She wondered, how would she accomplish her life goals and cope with being blind? But God gave her the courage. Her challenges of kidney failure and blindness was just a prelude to what happened next. These circumstances resulted in the amputation of her right leg.
It was also very difficult because I didn't want to sit in a wheelchair. But I got a prosthetic leg and I'm walking with it perfectly now.
These trials and afflictions would be
Charles,
enough to greatly discourage
Charles,
anyone.
let's go ahead and it goes on for about 20 more minutes, so I want to preach to you. No. I gave you a little card, and if you haven't ever signed up for Adventist World Radio, this card I'll mail them all back together myself, but if you'll fill it out, and what it will do, they'll send you stories of what's happening with Adventist World Radio around the world, and they're happening every day. But this, if you would like to, give me just write your name and address. I'll mail it out. I'll put them all in together, and when I leave today, and there's also some literature back in the fellowship hall there. There's some literature, some pencils, and different things about Adventist World Radio, and we'd love to give it to you. Take it, any of it. But just remember, Adventist World Radio, pray for it. The leader is Dwayne McKee. Dwayne McKee is from Chandler, Oklahoma, and he grew up on a dairy farm there in Chandler, Oklahoma. He's in charge of Adventist World Radio and doing a wonderful job with his team. And what they have in every conference is someone like me, just a representative, some retired person. That's how I got the job, retired, and they don't pay us to do it. They just go out and share. And so that's what we're doing. Every conference has someone go to the camp meetings, go to the churches to share. So keep that in mind. Be sure and fill that out for your name and address. If you haven't already, if you're not getting information from them, they'll send you information about what's happening around the world, how you can be a part and support it too. So, okay, very good.